happy learning to all of us. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to talk about this very important topic called planning and organizing. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a story. Now, I am known as a storyizer. I do a lot of corporate storytelling, essentially because I believe that the best way to communicate what we want to communicate in an engaging and sticky fashion. So listen carefully to the story. Imagine that you are the head of an ashram. You are the head of an ashram. And in that ashram, there are 500 people, disciples who are staying. Of course, some of them are your assistants or people who help you to manage the ashram. The rest are disciples who have come to stay in the ashram. Let's assume that there are 500 disciples who stay in the ashram. And your responsibility as the head of the ashram is to ensure that these 500 people get their meals 3 times a day, get their, the meditation session 2 times every day, and they get one spiritual discourse once every day. Yeah. So for the purpose of simplicity, let's assume that these are the 3 primary activities that you need to do as the head of the ashram for the 500 people, disciples who are coming and staying in your ashram. Now you decide to take 1 month vacation. And you want to give these responsibilities to somebody. And you have 2 people who are very senior swamis, and you can choose one of these people based on their capabilities. And you are a fair gentleman or lady, and you want to give a fair chance to both the senior swamis and choose the person who is best equipped to do the tasks. Let us also give them some names. Let's call one as, let's say, let me see, what kind of name can we give? One is called, let's say, Param, and the other is called Dharam. Okay, Param and Dharam. So you call Param and Dharam into your office or cabin. I mean, there will be little corporate language also that creeps in. Don't ask me where is the office or cabin in an ashram. Okay, stay with me in terms of the spirit of the story. So you call Dharam and Param into your office, and you tell them that this is what is required. 500 disciples are here. They need to be fed 3 times a day. And how will you go about arranging this? You have 2 hours. Please work it out and come back and tell me how exactly you will do this. Both of them, go around doing their activities, and 2 hours is the time that you are given. But 1 hour and 50 minutes later, Param is back in your office and he says, I went to the grocery store and I've told him that I need so much of material for this 500 people to be fed 3 times a day for 1 month. And I've also gone to the purchase manager and told him to expect a purchase order to be released very shortly. So I made the necessary arrangements. You're very happy. This is very efficient. Just, 1 hour, 50 minutes, and he has taken care of what is required, and he's come back and reported everything great. But you also want to give chance to Dharam because you're a fair person, right? You also want to give chance to Dharam to listen to what exactly he has to say. But 2 hours pass, 2 hours 15 minutes, 2 hours 30 minutes, 2 hours 45 minutes have passed. Then slowly Dharam comes into your office. And as it is, you feel, my God, already the guy is delayed. He is not stuck to the time. But let me just listen to him anyway. So he says, Dharam, okay, tell me, what is it that you have done? So Pujya Swamiji, I went to the storeroom in our ashram and found out that we have the storage space to stock up to 10 days worth of provisions. And I also found that already there are 10 days worth of provisions that are there in the store, which means that we need the first lot of 10 days provision 10 days down the line, and the next 10 days provision 20 days down the line. And then I went to the HR department and I also inquired and found that 10 of the Swamijis are also planning to go on vacation during this month. So we don't have to plan for 500, we need to plan for only 490. So I went to the grocers and I told him that I need material for 490 people, 1 lot after 10 days and 1 more lot after another 10 days. And I told him I will release both the purchase orders simultaneously if you give me a 10% discount. And the grocer says, okay. This is what he comes back and reports. Now, as the head of the ashram, who do you think you will prefer to handle the affairs in your absence? Will you prefer Param, who was ahead of time and who did exactly what you asked him to do? Or will you choose Dharam, who applied his mind to the whole problem? Granted, it took him a little extra time, but he came back and told you something that is a better solution. Obviously, you will prefer the second. Yeah, you will definitely say, I would rather have Dharam handling the activities rather than Param, who can just handle what I tell him to handle within the time. So that essentially is the difference. If you look at effectiveness and efficiency, there are a lot of people who just do things. There are some people who do things right. They are high on efficiency. Things are done exactly in the right fashion. Then there are some people who do the right things. They are the people who are high on effectiveness. Then there are people who do the right things in the right way. Obviously, that is the direction in which we would all like to move. How is it that we can focus on doing the right things and in the right way? So that for us demonstrate exactly what is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. So efficiency is producing maximum output with limited resources, like what Param did. You know, within 1 hour 50 minutes, he went and got the output that was required, and he did the things perfectly. He had a short-term perspective. 1 month, Swamiji is going to be away. I have to manage this. So what is it I need to do? And he was yield-oriented. Can I feed the 500 people in the ashram for 1 month, 3 meals a day? Or what kind of materials I need? So it's basically directly kind of correlating to the output that was expected. And it is very useful during the strategy implementation. And this is what is called operational efficiency. People who demonstrate a very high level of efficiency are the people who are excellent for operational roles, where they don't necessarily have to sit and think through the whole thing as to what is the best way of doing it, but go and execute it with the required efficiency. On the other side, there are also people who are effective, like in our case, you know, Dharam. The level of nearness to the actual result with the planned result, are we able to really, the actual result that we want is to feed 490 people, and keep in mind the constraint in the storage room. Do the perfect things, not just do the things that you're asked to do, but do the right perfect things. There is a longer run perspective. Asking for a discount if both the purchase orders are released simultaneously. The person is result oriented. And this kind of a thinking is very useful during strategy formulation. And it is a strategic measure. So while efficiency is operational efficiency, effectiveness is strategic effectiveness. And my submission to all of you is, we need both. We need to have operational efficiency. We need to have strategic effectiveness. And we need to be aware, what exactly do we mean when we say efficient, and what exactly do we mean when we say effective. And maintaining that fine balance between the two is what helps us. Now, we are going to move to result orientation. In order to look at what exactly is result orientation, we're going to use all the things that we have discussed so far. We talked about Acracia. Yeah, we talked about a right zoning of activities by taking to the next level. We talked about the time quadrants. We talked about our personality styles as far as time management is concerned. We talked about prioritization of Pareto principle. And just now we discussed about operational efficiency and strategy effectiveness. With all of these, we are going to look at how we can be more result oriented.